something that will be earth-shaking. I literally mean it, earth-shaking. You've got to get your people out to vote. And especially in those states where we're represented. I'm having a tremendous problem in Utah. Now, Utah's a different place, and I don't know if is anybody here from Utah? I mean, I didn't think so. We're having a problem.
Well, speaking to a group of religious conservatives in Orlando today, Donald Trump acknowledged he has had a tough fight. He's got a tough fight ahead of him in Utah, a state that has not backed a Democrat for president since LBJ in 1964. Trump sounding the alarm. He has a problem in that state. It comes the same week as Hillary Clinton's op-ed in the Deseret News, the Mormon church-owned newspaper, titled, "What I Have in Common with Utah Leaders, Religious Freedom and the Constitution." In the same week, former Republican staffer Evan McMullin announced he would run for president as an independent candidate. And this matters because, as the New York Times pointed out, McMullin's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, studied in Utah, and could take votes from Mr. Trump in the heavily Mormon state. Joining me now, McKay Coppins, senior political writer for BuzzFeed News, who has covered the Mormon church quite a bit. McKay, what is it with Mormons and Donald Trump? There was this, one of my favorite stats of the primaries was it was a correlation between Trump's vote share and the percentage of Mormons in a county. Yep. And it was just total inverse correlation. The more Mormons you had in the county, the worse Donald Trump did in that county.
There's basically nothing Donald Trump has to offer to Mormon voters. I mean, look, Mormons are the most reliably Republican religious group in the country, by far. Utah is the most red state when it comes to presidential years, by far. But the problem is that Donald Trump, two of his, key issues, two of the things that have most defined his campaign persona are immigration, being a hawk on immigration, and his kind of rough talk on Muslims, his Muslim bashing. Both of those two things are issues, areas where Mormons diverge from the Republican mainstream. Right. They have a special sensitivity to religious freedom, given the faith's, history, Mormon faith's history of persecution, and on immigration. They've been found, there was one study found that Mormons are more than twice as likely as evangelicals to support more immigration to the United States. So take those two things off the table. They don't draw Mormon voters to Trump. And then Trump himself as a person is just anathema to the whole Mormon culture and Mormon lifestyle. So there really isn't a lot he has to offer to Mormon conservatives.
There's one more, I think the religious freedom, and that was the focus of the Hillary Clinton op-ed, right? Yeah. The idea of a religious test, a religious ban on groups to a religious minority that went through periods of relentless persecution at the hands of the American state, to the point of armed persecution, right? Mm-hmm. That sounds bad to folks that have that in their institutional memory. I also think there's a third thing I think is fascinating. Mormons are along all the sort of factors of social capital, right, in terms of levels of educational attainment, family units that are, quote, intact, right? Yep. Income, right? It's a group of Americans that are doing pretty darn well. So the whole pitch of like everything's terrible, that's not it's not going to be your best audience. Yeah, no, they don't. Mormons by and large in America don't feel like America needs to be great again. They kind of feel like it's pretty good right now. And the other thing is places like Utah and Mormon heavy states and communities in general are very communitarian places. There are high levels of social cohesion where the institutions are still highly trusted. They go to church on Sundays. There are schools, schools tend to be pretty good. They participate in PTA meetings. These are places where they feel like they can trust each other. They trust their institutions. They don't feel like they need a political savior to come and burn it all down and save them. That's a great point. McKay Coppins, always a pleasure, McKay. Thanks a lot.
Happy to do it.
Still with me.